Like everybody else, I am patiently waiting for Season 1 and the Battle Pass to come out for Apex. And waiting patiently basically just means refreshing uh, Reddit, refreshing Google, and patiently waiting for some sort of news to come out of the Apex Legends world, come out of Respawn, to come out of somewhere, some sort of leak. I'll take anything at this point. And we're a couple days late off of when they said that they would deliver the Battle Pass and Season 1. But we have seen something, I think just today. It is when the introduction of it came. There is a bounce pad or a couple bounce pads outside of Market. I'm not exactly sure if they're temporary. I haven't gone to visit them myself at this point yet today. Bello, stop it. Sorry, my dog is just getting into things. And so I haven't gone to see them myself, but I've seen them on Reddit. I've seen clips of people who are much better at exploring them and using them and experimenting with them. And the first thought I had was just like, oh no, this is like the Fortnite-ification of Apex. Like that's what we're seeing right now with this new battle pass, because I think that's just kind of how these battle royales trend. You either have like the same rinse and repeat game, and that gets boring for everybody, or you add a bunch of new things, and the new things are a lot of fun, and maybe only fun for newer players, but eventually it gets to the point where it gets a little old, or it gets not fun. It gets to be the thing that you didn't, start playing. That's not the thing that you remember, and so I do have a fear of that coming. But the main thing that I think is really happening there is that the battle pass, these items, these new features, they become more of the focus of the game as opposed to the actual battle royale itself, as opposed to the gunfights, as opposed to finding loot, as opposed to finding players, as opposed to positioning inside of the ring, things like that. And so like it becomes much more like the Fortnite, to compare this to the Fortnite-ification of Apex, the things that were added to Fortnite to do these things to that game, where like the beach balls, the golf balls, the all-terrain carts, the shopping carts, the dance moves. These are all things that like people have spent more time focusing on instead of like actually just running around fighting each other and shooting each other. And that's definitely my favorite thing about these battle royales, is being dropped into this thing, drop in, get weapons, and then find each other. There's no place where everybody should be or everybody's guaranteed to be. And so I think that that's definitely one of my favorite aspects of battle royales. And I think that bare bones kind of thing is something that I wish for, but it's also ultimately something that I think I end up like complaining about, or I end up getting bored of, I guess is a better thing to say. Maybe even quicker. Like if you look at just examples of games that I've played in the past that do follow that model, like all of the Call of Duties, for example, they release a game, it's the same thing, that's what you get until the next one, and it's very much a rinse and repeat kind of simple. I don't know what took so long to shoot at that guy, but a much simple rinse and repeat kind of. You experience the same kind of play throughout the entire experience of the game. And that kind of life cycle can make itself very short, make it a very short game. For example, Call of Duty comes out in November. When a lot of times the games that I were playing when I was playing it at its peak, you would not be interested in playing anymore by the summer. And so if you think about that, with Apex, we could be looking at a couple months from now, by the middle of the summer, late summer, people not being as interested in this game anymore. And I think that that's like a real possibility, especially considering how much we're seeing them delay the battle pass, we're seeing them delay season 1, we're seeing them delay all sorts of things. And I think that does frustrate this core group of players. But even just like watching the player base, like the thing that's really grown so far is the player base in this game. The game itself is largely the same as when it was introduced, with the exception of like a little bit of a nerf, a little bit of a patch for wingman and some other guns and some minor tweaks. But this game is pretty much exactly the same as when we were first introduced to it. And so one thing that like right now, like looting, my looting has gotten so much quicker. Some things that the whole player base has changed in general is the sense of aim. People just are figured out what kind of weapons, what kind of how to aim them, kind of best way to use weapons, and that kind of thing. Reloading, something I struggled with at the very beginning of this match. Someone came unarmed, and I didn't knock him down just because I ran out of ammo on both guns. The guns shoot very fast, and the time to kill is very, very long. So the combination of that in this game, the reloading becomes like an actual thing that matters in this game, as opposed to like Call of Duty where it doesn't matter at all. You actually being loaded up and ready to go, it makes a difference. And like right here, this guy is out of ammo, and so I'm able to take out the rest of the squad and become the new kill leader. And so it's just like those kind of basic things that are no longer hang-ups anymore, no longer become problems. And again, looting has become more simplified, I think, for everybody. Not simplified, but has become just more easy for everybody, something that everybody's done more and more and more and more and more, and so they get a lot more used to it as it goes on. But like we get to like this problem with the guns. This is actually, I think, my first time using this Havoc. Yeah, actually it is. I'm switching back and forth between the fire mode and everything. Yeah, this is definitely my first time using the Havoc. There are like a couple tiers of guns, and it's balanced actually pretty well, but at the same time, like there's undeniably some guns that are really good and some guns that are really bad. And if you think of like a standard bell curve, in the middle you have like these mid-tier weapons like the R99, the Hemlock, the Spitfire, and the Devotion. Like these are all guns that are like both like really good. They're all really good, but at the same time they're not. They don't stand out compared to the guns like the Wingman and the R301. The R301 is just a laser beam, and it shoots real fast. The Wingman, as we know, how everybody feels about that, even with the patch. And then the low-end guns are the auto pistols and shotguns, and then any other gun that wasn't mentioned basically doesn't. If it wasn't in the game, it wouldn't matter. Like the Mozambique and the semi-automatic pistol. Maybe I'm even forgetting other guns, but those guns don't make a difference. I honestly think that there's no difference, maybe even statistically, between being unarmed and having a Mozambique in a gunfight. For me, I might even have 0 kills with the Mozambique. I really think that is, it's just like a useless gun. And so you have like these two categories of guns, like the Wingman, the R301 top category, and then the Hemlock, the R99, the Spitfire, Devotion, those guns. And then basically, so now you have 2 sets of guns that can be used, and everything else you'll just die if you run into anybody else, regardless of the setup. And so like it makes me think about like what is the meta in this game. And the meta in this game really is have 2 autos or 1 heavy damage in an auto, like an R301 and a longbow. That would be a pretty standard setup, or an R301 and a Hemlock, pretty standard. And here we have just this last battle, and I'm sorry, let's just go over the last of the Apex meta, and the last thing is reloading or shielding up before the other person. It's running away and shielding up first. That's part of the meta, and then the second part of the meta is looting shields from the loot chest, because as long as you loot a shield, you'll get it in full health, no matter if you shot it all the way through or if the person's dead or whatever it is. And so here we're in the last gunfight. It's us and 2 other squads right now, and we're kind of no one is sure where anybody is at this point. This person has lost me, and I like I said, I needed to heal, I needed to get away. I'm able to do that as my teammate goes out and he's running around, he gets downed. What I should have done was make a priority to get to this teammate, but instead I thought, okay, 2 squads left, I have to clutch this myself. This is the only way. He's out in the middle. If I go to where he is, I will die too. And so I've, shield all the way back up. I have no idea what to do. And I don't go and get the person that's down. I feel like I need to just go Rambo mode and, with my very low ammo, and just kill whoever's left real quickly. And I think it could just be a matter of flanking them and using my UAV scanner. But spoiler alert, this was a really close game, and we came in second out of it because I didn't loot correctly. I didn't revive my teammate. These are all parts of, like right now, my teammate's wandering around to get me. I'm sure that like this would have been a great point to pick him up, now, especially right here. You knock down one of them, boom, go pick up your teammate who's right behind you. But instead I didn't, and he goes into I have to recover his banner, and I'm hunting for this last guy. I know he's close, and I'm using right there. I find him reviving, and I use the last of my ammo, and I'm just in like the situation of a punching match. The thing I should have done was go loot one of these bodies. I should have just gotten the hell out of here in the beginning, or kill this guy quickly, way more quickly than I did. Instead, I let this guy go heal up. I let him go kick ammo up, and instead, yeah, like I get an extra kill, but they ended up winning the game, and he has a position on me with the wingman. There's really no other way that this was going to go, especially since I didn't get any ammo there. All of this was too little too late, and by the time I actually get the gun, he's right on top of me, and my health is just too low. He might as well just look at me, because I'm already dead, and just resorting now to punching. I should have reloaded, should have got my teammate. My fault for the loss. But thank you guys for watching, appreciate it, and what are your thoughts?